Hello, my name is Hannah Yeasley. I'm a senior at Massachusetts College of Liberal Arts in North Adams. I'll be talking about the effects of politics on superhero fiction, the evolution of Joker. American culture is shifting, and that shift is being reflected in the media being made and consumed. My research is an interdisciplinary study of the character development of Joker from an insignificant villain in Batman 1966 through Batman 1989 and The Dark Knight 2008 to the sympathetic anti-hero main character of an origin story in Joker 2019. Situating each film within its designated political era, I look at social and political analyses of the atmospheres, ideologies, and movements of the time in chronological order alongside analysis of the films themselves to examine how these atmospheres affect or are reflected in Joker as a character. Along the way, it is pointed out that the political trends within the United States have influenced the types of characters audiences enjoy, often mimicking the masculinities set by government leaders and mirroring moments of mass panic that can be attributed to perceived domestic and global threats to the status quo. Establishing a relationship between politics and film required an interdisciplinary method that borrows from several different disciplines, including political and cultural studies, film studies, and critical discourse analysis, with a particular emphasis on critical masculinities. My research suggests that the character arc of the Joker in U.S. culture not only reflects the socio-political climate and dominant, heteronormative, masculine ideologies, but has the potential to influence the ways that pop cultural audiences engage with and understand those political moments on and off screen. Starting with movies that depend on the hero-villain dynamic and ending with a film that establishes Joker as a solo, sympathetic anti-hero, a closer examination reveals a shift in American culture that reflects the socio-political climate and in turn affects the engagement, processing, and understanding of said climate by American audiences in their consumption of mass media. To begin, I analyze moments from the 1980s specific to Ronald Reagan's economic policies, as well as his own performance as a masculine figurehead, to show where these portrayals exist in Tim Burton's Batman 1989 and how they differ from Leslie Martinson's Batman from 1966. Specifically, toward the end of Burton's movie, Joker promises to give $20 million in cash to the citizens of Gotham that attend the 200th anniversary parade. He's throwing cash into the air and letting it fall, giving a visual representation of Reagan's trickle-down economics. In the same way that Reagan's plan failed, Joker's plan ultimately is meant to lead to the demise of the citizens, as the money is a distraction from the blimps that are releasing lethally toxic gas into the air. Additionally, and perhaps in spite of his eventual economic shortcomings, Reagan embodied a strong, trustworthy leader that reinforced the pushback against the Black, queer, and feminist counterculture movements from the 1960s and 1970s. Reagan was heterosexual, conservative, Christian, and white. While not explicitly all of these things, Batman is at the very least heterosexual, white, and male. By taking away his sidekick, Robin, that is present in the 1966 Batman film, he not only becomes a reliable individual, but also undergoes a re-heterosexualization, which is a term coined by Andy Medhurst, as the implicitly homosexual relationship with Robin is erased. However, this re-heterosexualization is complicated by Batman's codependent relationship with Joker. At one point in the film, Joker tells his henchmen, quote, "I have given a name to my pain, and it is Batman." Both of their origins rely on the other at separate moments, and this reliance is acknowledged by them both. At the end of the film, Joker tells Batman, quote, "You made me," and Batman replies, quote, "You made me first." The complication of Batman's heteronormative masculinity is furthered by the contrast between his dark costume and brooding demeanor with Joker's playfulness and brightly colored costuming and makeup. In this way, Joker falls into the camp that the re-heterosexualization attempted to eradicate. Fast forward almost 20 years, I then turn to Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight from 2008, aided by The Batman Begins from 2005, which is the first movie in the Nolan trilogy, and other scholarship. I look at how similar themes of U.S. citizens being disappointed by their nation's leaders, as well as pushing for hegemonic masculinity, are perpetuated and exacerbated by the U.S. response to 9/11. The terrorist attacks on September 11, 2001 sparked the Iraq War, which was shortly after revealed to be, for lack of better terminology, misguided. In this on-screen rendition of Batman, Joker uses bombs, quite a lot actually. Part of the thrill for him, seemingly, is also just the threat of bombs and the fear that that brings. For example, forcing Batman to choose between saving Rachel Dawes and Harvey Dent, and then tricking him into choosing the opposite one, as well as when he attempts to force citizens to blow up prisoners or vice versa in a boat standoff at the end of the film. That plan is ultimately not successful. The same economic criticisms are present in this film as in the last, with Joker stealing money from the mob and then burning half of it, but this instance can be more relevantly read as critique on the wasteful spending of the Iraq War. The codependence between Batman and Joker, as well as the contrast between Batman's dark non-campiness and Joker's playful campiness, is still present as well, with Joker telling Batman, quote, "You complete me," and, quote, "I think you and I are destined to do this forever." Following that is a look at Todd Phillips' Joker from 2019. The most popular reading of this film is as social commentary on the mental health care support, or lack thereof, in the United States, with Arthur Fleck's seemingly inevitable decline into a violent psychopath. But upon further inspection, it is hard to pick just one relevant element from the cultural climate. Situated in creation, not in plot, at the tail end of the 2010s, this film is inevitably influenced by Donald Trump's presidency, which in turn has lingering sentiments from Reagan, and the overwhelming growth of social media and its aid in public protest movements such as Occupy Wall Street and Black Lives Matter. In the context of the ongoing battle over mental health stigmas, class struggles, and representation in media, Joker both shows and catalyzes important socio-political debates of our time. Despite the perceived political progress of the early 2010s, especially during the Obama administration with the Affordable Care Act of 2010 and the Supreme Court ruling upholding gay marriage as a constitutional right in 2015, further bipartisan clashes exploded as Donald Trump was elected president in 2016. Within Joker, Gotham is the same system of corrupt officials as it was during Burton's Batman and Nolan's The Dark Knight, but now Todd Phillips gives audiences a movie that follows one of Gotham's citizens rather than its untouched by wealth inequality billionaire masked hero Batman. This time, we focus on the unstable individual, albeit still a white, heterosexual, male individual. Although Arthur Fleck's masculinity is not as strong or clear-cut as Batman's has been in previous movies, Fleck still occupies spaces in a way that's only accessible to him through his whiteness, and this is reasserted in the film. Each interaction Fleck has with a black person in this movie is brief and or revealed to have been entirely in his head. These interactions in one way or another reveal Arthur as a victim of childhood abuse and being left behind by the unfair system of society. At its best, this can be read as a performative representation, a swept-under-the-rug response to the Black Lives Matter movement. At its worst, it is an underlying and subconscious white victimization where black people are involved, with violence being the often chosen answer. The lack of faith in government makes Arthur turn Joker's issues less wide-lensed than Christian Bale's Batman, but still less nuanced than Heath Ledger's Joker. Here, Arthur's Joker was created by society, driven mad by the unfair and unplayable hand he was dealt by life. He is not looking for chaos just to create chaos. He is looking to disrupt the system to shed light on how unfair it has been to him and people like him. In a similar fashion to people voting for Trump, audiences and Gotham citizens supported Gotham's once hated villain. And yet, he remains just out of reach of modern audiences. In watching this movie about him and his true origin, we get reasons, not excuses. Right away, Joaquin Phoenix's portrayal of Arthur Fleck conflicts with the heroic, hard-bodied masculinity of Batman. Arthur Fleck lacks confidence or charisma or any other outwardly stereotypical masculine traits. Especially relevant is the fact that there is no Batman, even though there is a young Bruce Wayne. In this way, and many complicated other ways, Joker's biggest enemy, besides mental illness, is the systemic failures of the society in which he lives. Most consistently, politics are inevitably, if not obviously, tied to the decisions filmmakers and filmgoers make. Masculinity maintains control of the status quo, influencing not only characters portrayed in Batman 1989, The Dark Knight 2008, and Joker 2019, but also how those characters are received by American audiences. Through a lens that puts critical masculinities and film studies in a cultural studies context, I have analyzed the evolution of Joker as a character and his own ideologies and his relationship with Batman, contributing to the understanding of the what and the why of the films America makes and watches. Thank you.